After coming so many times in his arms and in several positions, achieving so many orgasms, he told me to monitor my interactions with others. While I thought that to be strange at the time, he knew something about me that was coming to my future interactions with others that I didn't see coming. You see, having great sex with my fantasy boyfriend helped me handle times of stress when dealing with others. I was more calm, more patient. My levels of creativity increased, whether working for myself or with others. A whole new way of communicating and interacting with others opened up, and I have him to thank for it. Whether we stayed together or not, just in how he treated me, I will take these new outlooks and feelings with me throughout life to help make my future more relaxed, more creative, and more fulfilling with anyone I come into contact with, actually. Just as he was patient and giving to me, unselfishly, I will be that way in turn to others. I have girlfriends who are seeing a therapist, but I think if they had their own fantasy boyfriend, they wouldn't need to see one. He'd be there to listen to her, help her by giving sound advice. He'd help eliminate stress. He'd hold her at night and kiss her and give her that pillow talk she loves so much. Dating your own fantasy boyfriend is like dating a therapist, mentor, lover, and/or coach all in one. Besides, therapists, they can't hold you or kiss you goodnight, and they certainly can't make love to you for hours on end. Remember, men have our medicine, ladies. He never comments negatively about my body. Like every woman, we all have our insecurities, whether it's our breasts, butt, hair, face, hips, legs, teeth, gums, smile, you name it. We are insecure about some, if not all, of those things. My fantasy boyfriend seems to love me so much he accepts me for who I am and the body I came in. He never makes derogatory statements or anything like that. It's as if I am perfect in his eyes. Because my man accepts me for who I am, I don't need to take unnecessary risks with my body under the knife, which can oftentimes lead to devastating and/or irreversible side effects down the road. Besides, after the thrill of what you had surgery on is gone, no one cares anymore. Then you have to live with what you had done and hope nothing goes wrong over the next couple or few or 5 or 10 years. I don't need to worry about that now. My man accepts me for who I am. I've been able to say goodbye to friends who don't make any efforts to talk to me or treat me with respect. My fantasy boyfriend does all that for me now. I asked my fantasy boyfriend if he had ever tried online dating, and here's what he said. Yes, I have, but it wasn't for long. You see, for me, I wasn't into hooking up at all. My intentions were to find the one for me. Well, I didn't just write 3 to 5 sentences about me, about who I was in my description box. No, I wrote a small article, approximately 3 pages consisting of 1,800 words and 9,658 characters with spaces, 19 paragraphs, and 121 lines. Some websites give you that much room to write about yourself, so I used it, all of it, every allowable character. I thought to give a potential gal more than enough to read about me. If she didn't want to read more, she'd move on to the next profile. Great, that might have saved me some time, as she might not have been my type of gal. If she wanted more, then there was more to read. If a woman read everything I wrote, when we finally connected on the dating app or the site, number one, we could focus all on her because she read so much all about me to start with. And number two, we'd have so much to talk about because I wrote about so many topics that interested me in relation to her and me, about me, how we would interact and everything. She could just pick something out of that description and we'd start up a conversation in 0 seconds flat. This would help me better filter out the crazies from those who maybe weren't so crazy. Well, at least it was a shot. Within 24 hours of posting that description, which I could show you because I still have it in my computer, I had 200 plus women wanting to contact me within 24 hours. For 30 days, I monitored all the messages and letters sent to me from all these women of all ages, 21 to 61, totaling some 5,000 plus women in under 30 days. I was amazed, but I wasn't really. I'm a nice guy. Good looking, smart, intelligent, old-fashioned. Values, that is. I guess my words won them over, you could say. Just to prove I wasn't fooling myself, I joined 2 other dating websites and submitted the same description bio about me, and guess what happened? The same thing. I got thousands of inquiries from women per website. In total, 3 dating websites, and I got 10,000 women wanting to contact me within 30 to 90 days. I think I'm better off putting my faith in meeting someone offline and out of the blue. Maybe at some random coffee shop. Oh, that's how we met. We laughed as I just laid there amazed at the sheer number of responses he got and how lucky I was to be with him. I used to feel anxious in my personal space when strangers would walk up to me and meet me in the street. Now, though, I feel protected when I'm with my fantasy boyfriend. I love how he holds my hand and looks out for me when we're out in public. No one has ever done that for me. He's like a bodyguard and a boyfriend. I love that. I love traveling, and I love to fly to far-off destinations for any reason. And my fantasy boyfriend loves to go with me. I've dated some men who were terrified of flying, believe it or not. Maybe they didn't like driving long distances. Maybe they couldn't take the time off from work. Whether I wanted to drive to San Diego for a taco or visit the Grand Canyon, fly to Boston for a cannoli, hit up Trader Joe's for some of their cool pasta, or fly to Paris for a croissant. My man is right there with me, wherever I want to go. He's my personal travel companion and lover, all rolled up into one delicious cannoli. Whether he's holding my hand on the airplane or kissing me on the plane, off and away we go, and I love it. For a while there, I literally only had 5 close friends, and one of them was a dog. I realized that being alone wasn't so bad, and yet as humans, that's kind of whack. Until my fantasy boyfriend came along, I longed in great silence to connect with someone intimately. Find my soulmate, so to speak. Well, with him now in my life, I've done just that. I've found the one for me. I know I'm a giving person. I just never got treated the same in return with any of the past men I dated. Because my fantasy boyfriend gives me so much, I finally feel free to unleash all that I have, to give of myself to him too. Until my fantasy boyfriend came into my life, I started to think and even joke. I'm single, living alone. No idea what I'm doing with my life. Should I get a dog? I remember I would cry a lot. Now that I have my fantasy boyfriend, I don't cry as much unless he does something so caring and so special for me. Then I cry. But I love crying for those reasons, and he doesn't mind. He makes it okay to cry. He even cries with me sometimes. When he does, I cry even more. The last time I went out on a date, before my fantasy boyfriend, he didn't work out. But that night was fun and memorable, for sure. I loved the outfit I picked out. I just wish I would have met my fantasy boyfriend then and had taken him to that event. While I might have looked gorgeous that night, my face probably told another story that I wasn't really feeling that great about that night. It didn't help that the other couples there were having fun, but I felt so alone, even though I had a temporary date. For the longest time, all the guys I'd ever meet, they just wanted it all the time. In fact, someone I really liked, I remember, literally stopped dating me last year because I wouldn't give him daily, you know what. I thought to myself, am I just going to die alone if I can't meet a man who treats me right? Does such a man even exist? For a long time, I would never meet anyone. So I just remained celibate and alone, taking care of my needs every now and then, until one day my fantasy boyfriend walked into my life. Then there was a time when all my female peers were in loving relationships or having babies, and there I was freaking out that I was going to be alone forever. Thank heavens my fantasy boyfriend knocked on my proverbial door and asked me to talk to him. Thank heavens I had the courage to say, yeah, okay, let's chat. What have I got to lose? I'm going to go over to his table. I would have never known what kind of a man he was if I didn't give him a chance. Instead, I would have passed him right up and lost him forever to maybe some other woman. We ladies have to learn to give men a chance if they're kind, patient, and gentle to us. Otherwise, it's our loss, and we have no one to blame but ourselves if we wind up lonely. None of this, where have all the good men gone? We passed them all by when we said, no thanks, before getting to know him first. I used to have to get used to and love dining alone. Now that I love dining with my fantasy boyfriend, there's no such comparison. I used to love staying in hotels and watching my favorite TV shows online. I thought it was the best form of therapy to help my depression. That is, until my fantasy boyfriend appeared in my life and showed me how to really enjoy a hotel room with his hotel getaway checklist. And in his own special way, wow, did that ever cure my depression fast. I love how I can just get crazy, nasty, and meshy with my fantasy boyfriend if he encourages me to do so. It really turns me on. For the longest time, I felt like I didn't belong anywhere or to anyone. In high school, I had so many insecurities. I remember my crush in high school made a comment about my hair. I was so embarrassed. To this day, it still haunts me. When I became an adult, nothing really changed. In fact, it got worse to some degree. I would see all my friends have boyfriends, and yet, after all these years, I didn't have one. No matter where I moved, I grew to hate seeing all the joy and fun they were having, holding hands and laughing and kissing and probably having sex. All while I had no hand to hold and no one to spend quality, intimate time with. Then, my fantasy boyfriend showed up out of nowhere, came into my life, asked to talk some, and the rest is now history. After we got to know each other more, and he was so patient with me, he finally said, I want you, and no one else. Just the way he said it, in his own sexy voice, I melted right there and cried. All the years I had felt alone and thought I was destined to die alone, I was now alone no more. I used to think about going off to the middle of nowhere to try to heal from being a female in today's world. Maybe I should just find a cabin off the grid somewhere in Idaho or something. Then my fantasy boyfriend came into my life and virtually rescued me from myself. My love life? Ha! For the longest time, it was me wanting attention while also hating everyone and wanting to be alone. Fortunately, my love life showed signs of hope. Then my fantasy boyfriend showed up to cast all doubts aside. I remember once I was dating a guy who said to me, I think we should see other people. I said, okay, who do you want to see? What he meant was that he didn't want to see me anymore. I was crushed. After that, my luck with guys just got worse. I even walked out on the dates. They were so bad. My sex life? For so long, celibate by choice. Because there were so many weirdos out there, I just couldn't risk it. Getting my heart broken, that is. I used to take walks to feel better about my life and where I'm going, not sure what I wanted to do. I tried different careers. I guess I just don't like working for anybody else. So I started working for myself in a way that turned out great. Then my fantasy boyfriend came into my life, and I started to see how we can make more money working on projects together, have more of an impact on folks. We could act together in short films, and yet he too liked avoiding the world. So we could both spend more time with each other. In our own special way, we were kind of like loners who now loved being alone together. That's us now. Since my dad died, it's a reminder that our time here is very short. Therefore, the lesson is, I need to take advantage of what's in front of me, or who's in front of me. We never know why people are put into our lives. Hence, we have to take things slow and look for signs. It seems my fantasy boyfriend could be right in front of me, and I'd never know it, unless you gave him a chance to share who he is and how you can make a life together. Don't be so quick to judge and shorten that personal wish list you have of the perfect man. We all have flaws and should be grateful to any man who wishes to spend the rest of his life with us. Get to know him and watch for signs that he has all the qualities of a real fantasy boyfriend. When I was young, I felt ostracized as a kid. I just wanted to blend in, but my dad wouldn't let me. Where he was being taken care of before he passed away, everyone loved him. He made everyone laugh. I loved his sense of humor. Perhaps that's why I love the sense of humor of my fantasy boyfriend, who exhibits that all the time. He reminds me so much of my dad in a certain way, and I love that so much about him. He even takes time out to let me talk about my dad. He's always interested and wishes he could have met him. I bet my dad would have really loved meeting my fantasy boyfriend. I wish I could have let my dad know I was in good hands and that I wouldn't be alone anymore. Just thinking about telling him that makes me cry. Why does life have to be so hard?